What's up out there, world, and welcome to another episode of Wheel Bite, Season 2, Episode 5. For this episode, we were joined by one of our good friends, legendary Bay Area filmer, Big Pauly Harper. We sat down with him and talked about how skateboarding is often represented in either Hollywood or advertising, because Pauly has had a lot of experience in the last few years working on projects that have been more mainstream but have in some way involved skateboarding. He's gotten a lot of local talent here, some on-screen gigs, and it's his way of sort of giving back to the skate community that helped make him the person he is today. But one of the big things about this episode was we recorded it before a lot of these movies that came out in 2018 about skateboarding were released. There were 3 big ones this year. Mid-90s is an obvious one. Skate Kitchen is the second. And Minding the Gap is the third. And they're all very different movies about skateboarding. I think everyone knows what mid-90s is at this point. It was all about skating in the mid-90s, the scene in LA, how skating was kind of a bad boy activity and shaped kids to kind of crossing that threshold of what was a little more rebellious at the time. Skate Kitchen told a different story about a young woman who was into skating, who lived in the suburbs of New York City, but eventually decided to follow through on her dream of bonding with other female skaters who she felt a connection with. Honestly, Skate Kitchen seemed more honest to today's skateboarding climate. You know, the girl knew who the crew was because of Instagram. She sought them out after an open invite, and throughout the plot of the film, she learns a lot of valuable lessons about life through skateboarding. And then the third movie, Minding the Gap, was an original Hulu documentary. And while skateboarding is involved, the subject of the movie more focuses on toxic masculinity and how all 3 subjects in the film are products of domestic abuse. But skateboarding was their way out of a bad home situation. And I think it's interesting that all 3 of these stories involve centralized characters who are indeed from broken homes. You know, mid-90s, little Stevie isn't necessarily from a terrible family. You know, he's got problems with his brother and is being raised by a single mom. But there is some tension at home because of the relationship with his brother and how it's so intense and violent at times. Skate Kitchen, you have a girl who is the product of a mother who has immigrated to America, and she isn't really able to truly find herself because her mom put so many limitations on her. Skateboarding provides that sort of expansion of her personality. And Minding the Gap was all about how skateboarding provided these kids an escape from a toxic home life. And that was the centralized theme of that entire documentary, even though half the characters in it were assholes and the other half seemed to be good-hearted skaters just trying to do the right thing. It's funny to me how all these stories about skateboarding, they all seem to centralize around characters like that. Even when you go back to kids, you know, Telly, Casper, they are clearly from broken homes and aren't getting the same parental supervision as so many other kids who are a product of their generation during the Clinton years. But because skateboarding is becoming more of this marketable thing, it seems to be used as this tool to tell stories about people who are just trying to find themselves. And I think that is an interesting common thread between all 3 of these films that came out this year. All these kids really are able to find themselves because skateboarding opens up their world to things they might not have ever experienced before, whether it be music or interacting with different types of people they're not accustomed to. They have these experiences that eventually make them whole. And because of this, I hope that finally we get some better movies about skateboarding after these three have set a new precedent. We touch upon this a little bit in the podcast, but because those movies weren't out yet, we didn't really get to. What we talked more about was how skaters who watch these movies crave this sense of authenticity. And when on set, that is what Pauly, our guest, is ultimately trying to do. So here it is. Big Pauly episode. Skating on the big screen.
Welcome to San Francisco.
Don't skate here.
I feel like it's dangling by a fucking strain of bone marrow.
East Coast powerhouse.
From New York, I stab you in the rest of the floor.
Carter, it is fucking Friday the fucking 10th.
I'll give you $100 and I'll take out the Denny Hondas if you slide that 75-foot handrail.
I especially like the flip of the board.
Hello, what's up out there world? Welcome to another episode of Wheel Bite, coming to you live from San Francisco, California. This is season 2, and I am host 1 of 2, Theodore Ted Mater, or Ted Theodore Mater, whichever one I've been saying the whole time.
Theodork.
Yes, that guy too. With me as always is
Jay Green here.
Today we have a special guest, one of the most inspirational Bay Area skate camera humans out there. He's a well-known local legend, Mr. Big Pauly Films himself, Pauly Harper.
Thank you, Theodore. Jay, nice to see you again, brother.
What up?
We've got Pauly here today because we are discussing something we kind of teased in the first season a bit, but we're going to dive into head first today, and that is skateboarding in the mass media, whether it be in advertisements, in film, on television, in music videos. And today's icebreaker question is going to be, what is a moment in mass media that you remember from skateboarding? I'm going to go not with an obvious choice, which would be Back to the Future, but actually this god-awful fucking movie that my mom rented me as a kid. It was called The Skateboard Kid. It was about a flying, talking skateboard and his relationship with a young boy. There were stunt cameos done by Willie Santos, among other pros. I need to look at the credits again and see some of the people who were in the movie.
At least they tried. They got Willie Santos in it.
Yeah, this cover photo though, man, it's a Toys R Us board. Look at the axle, look at the axle. Look at the bolt sticking out.
Looking on the back. On the back, this guy is upside down with a dog.
Yeah, the dog
On
doesn't
his
really play
skateboard.
much of a role, but this was my first, I guess, intro to any sort of skate culture. And when I watch it now, I mean, as a little kid, I didn't know any better, but when I watch it now, it's just so cringeworthy. The words they use for slang, the stunt work. There's a whole montage of them just doing ollies off of curbs, but in between them doing ollies are boards chaotically just flipping around with nobody flipping them. It's so horrendous, but as a skate nerd, it's such a funny thing to see just because it's so bad.
Don't know what that noise in the background is. That's my dog Thor.
Yes, we've also got Thor here in the studio today.
Making all the ruckus.
Yeah, trying to eat my chocolate chip cookies, which would not be in his best interest. Go ahead, Jeff.
So, I mean, if you know anything, I'm a huge Simpsons fan. And Bart Simpson has always had a very special role in just my infatuation and love with skateboarding and kind of his radical fucking just, I don't know, they really kind of gave Bart a skater's attitude that was a little bit of his kind of character and just who he was. So I think there's a lot of people, whether they know it or not, Bart had like a big role in people getting a skateboard and little kids being interested in skateboarding. However, how The Simpsons portrayed skateboarding was clearly cartoonish and not accurate, which is totally fine and great, and they drove the point home because it's a fucking cartoon. You know, I don't think anyone was or is ever going to be jumping canyons off of a... Actually,
yeah.
You know what? Maybe not. They kind of foreshadowed the mega ramp a little bit, actually. If you remember, I think there was a couple where he had, like, kind of a mega ramp looking thing.
Well, there was the whole episode with Tony Hawk where, like, Bart emancipated himself and Tony Hawk became his, like, sort of dad. And for Homer to win back Bart's affection, he tried to jump the Springfield Canyon, like, off of a mega ramp type thing. And that was, like, relatively...
That was a newer one, yeah.
Well, no, that was, like, maybe 2003 or 4.
That's newer.
Well, yeah. But you know what I mean? Like, that wasn't after the mega ramp had become such a big thing. It was still kind of... Yeah, exactly. It was the beginning of the culture.
Just the intro alone is, like, how subliminal is that? Like, Bart skating in every single fucking Simpsons theme song. Yeah.
And getting out of detention on his skateboard.
Right, jumping immediately onto his skateboard. They really kind of drove that rebel, radical...
He's a sad boy, too.
Yeah.
Like a skateboard.
Right, exactly.
And yours, Paul?
Oh, well, mine, I mean... Any old Navy ad or anything you see on Bart or Muni that just drive you nuts. Like, what was that one we just, it's been around lately? There's an ad of this kid doing looks like a dolphin flip.
Oh, yeah.
Flip or
Yeah. I know exactly the one you're talking about.
It's a complete miss, you know.
Oh, my God. Not even close.
But just the things photographers get away with, you know, just, I mean, even in the pros, you know, no makes, you know, making covers and everything, and when it gets down to, like, a simple, like, Old Navy shot or something, and it's completely missed.
What, like...
It just makes me laugh every time
I mean, that's a big part of what we're talking about in this episode. But, like, what is that gap? Like, how does whoever's directing that or whoever, like, how do they create that, like, gap of just, like, someone who doesn't really skate? He clearly has no idea what he's doing on a skateboard. He's clearly not landing a trick. Like, they can't possibly think that anyone's going to look at that and think that's authentic.
Yeah, it's these marketing companies, man. They just all comes from we're inferior. We're inferior to them. We're a very small percentage. These actual skateboarders, and you know the people who are buying these things and these advertisements, it's their moms. You know they don't know what the hell they're looking at or seeing. It's disappointing coming from a skateboard point of view.
Right.
And that's why whenever I'm on set, I try to fix these things.
Right.
You know?
They don't prioritize being authentic at all.
No, they
that's
don't.
Not really
they really
their
don't.
point, actually.
And when they do, and I've been on some sets where they try. You know, they'll get a professional out there to kind of coordinate everything, but you know, sometimes their professional isn't very professional, if you know what I mean. Sure. You know.
Yeah.
So while we're even getting into that and your position on skating and everything, why don't you just tell us about your history and how you've gotten to this point on your job?
Why we're talking about this?
Oh yeah, exactly. Your whole background, because
well, I mean, the whole reason why I'm here is because using the media to skateboard every day. These kids, I mean, Hollywood and San Francisco has this big, you know, chip on their shoulder about this whole Hollywood way of life. But then I hear people wanting to skate for a living, quote unquote. And how do you do that? You got to do a fucking Cheerio commercial here and there. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, bullshit aside, I mean, like, but that's how you take advantage of the system, and that's what we are. Or that's what skateboarders are. They're rolling billboards. You know, you're playing this Monopoly. You're trying to get in the game. You try to take advantage of it and collect every dollar you can, so you can stay on your skateboard every day. And that's what I'm here for, and what I've taken advantage of is my field of work is where I'm on set every day. I do commercials, movies, TV, etc., etc. And when I just see that a props master hand a skateboard to some kid in fucking loafers or dress shoes and he's mall grabbing, I go up to him.
Time out.
Yeah, time out. Real talk. I just kind of go right up to the kid and I just go, "That's not how you hold the board. You hold it like this." And to me, that just fixes a little bit, but a lot for us. You know, like just the representation. You know, the kid in the background holding mall grabbing and whatnot. Just trying to fix this problem that we got here.
I want to talk to you too, though, about your background, because you came up here in San Francisco as a skate filmer back when you were younger.
Yeah, VX days all day.
So
15 years straight.
And how did you transition from filming skateboarding to working on like sets for fucking Ford commercials or on superhero movies or whatever? I mean, you're all over the place at this point when it comes to production stuff. So how did you transition?
Well, skateboarding gives you that hustle mentality, and where I work in freelance now, which has transitioned so perfectly for me. You know, I skateboarded every day, fucking 15 years, you know, sleeping on people's floors, living on my backpack. It was a dream. Still sounds like the dream. But then you wake up one day and realize you're not paying bills or you don't have any bills. You know, you kind of get into that almost 30-year-old range.
Yeah.
Start figuring out reality and what's really important. You know, so I just kept hustling. I started networking and doing PA work and getting on sets and then filming this, filming that, doing music videos and commercials. And now I'm gripping. I joined the local union, you know, where our union does a little bit of this, a little bit of that.
Well, that's good. I mean, obviously, yeah, sometimes you got to grow out of those things. And now we're talking about these marketing companies too, and not even just that, like you've been on sets, like you said, where you had to like tell the prop department, like, no, this is how you hold a skateboard, this is how this works, and how you handle this. Like,
so me aside, I'm just trying to help out the future of skateboarding.
Right.
The representation. I mean, I'm fucked either way. I'm busting my back, working every day like a, you know, blue collar human being. But
I gotta imagine that's pretty dope though. Like, it's almost, I don't know about full circle, but like just from hustling and filming and just fucking doing it for grinding for so many years to kind of come back into like your kind of new venture or newish type of thing, and you still get to have a hand in skateboarding.
Yeah,
that's got to be super dope.
Only when it presents itself, because you know it's not every day kind of thing.
Right, sure.
But when it presents itself, it's like two worlds colliding, and it feels really good. Like if and when I can help, but when I can't help or when I can't actually do anything, it like drives me nuts.
Yeah,
you know,
are there times like that?
Sometimes there's some. That's why I have to kind of like sneak up to the kid holding the skateboard and like kind of like whisper in his ear, like, "Dude, do it better than that."
Yep.
You know, hold it this way, hold it that way. But there's, you know, sometimes I don't really have the physical, creative control over these things.
Sure.
But when I do, it's fun. Like last year on 13 Reasons, you know, name dropping here, 13 Reasons Why, season 2, John Perez, Desmond, and those Brute kids, and then Cesar Rosado. I got the homie Cesar Rosado up in there. I was kind of undercover skateboard officiant
consultant
there. Yeah, consultant.
Type, yeah.
You know, just because I follow some of the producers. They follow me back on Instagram. They see I do a little bit of skateboarding, and
you're in the world.
Yeah, so I kind of helped them out with that and put them together with the like set builder Barker Barrett.
Yeah, damn.
Yeah, dude.
What?
OG.
Yeah.
He built the set for that?
Yeah, he's in our union, and they were asking me about building ramps, this, and that. I'm like, he's in the back in the warehouse. He can put 2 and 2 together and make it dope.
Wow.
And then me and him hooked him up with some skateboarders, and then John got the speak and roll, Jonathan Perez.
Yeah.
Which was you know, the fact that he was in there was pretty dope. But the script could have leaned in our skateboarders' direction a little bit more, like.
Sure.
Like what did Skate Line?
Gary Rogers.
Gary Rogers, dude.
Oh yeah, he clowned
it was
John.
hilarious.
Yeah, he did. Well, I guess that's kind of similar to bringing it back to the Bart thing and how skaters are portrayed and how they're put into TV and movies. It's like, are you gonna see a clean cut like do-gooder skater in a TV show in a movie? Probably not.
No, most of the time the skater is always going to be kind of an asshole in these kind of media portrayals. Like it's always kind of a symbol of rebellion to some extent.
Unless some dude is trying to
sell a fucking Old Navy shirt and he's cheesing super hard and it's
I like how we're clowning Old Navy. I'm
hella
pretty sure you get a lot
corny.
of flack for this.
Sorry to all you Old Navy lovers out there.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey man, I got a pretty dope shirt for $4 the other day from Old Navy. Though.
You can, yeah, yeah.
It has flamingos on it.
They got the jig.
So I want to just talk too about some examples right off the bat. Like you mentioned 13 Reasons Why, but I know too you've been on commercials involving skateboarding and stuff like that. What are some of the other projects you've been almost like a skate consultant on, if you want to use that term, I guess?
Not many. I mean, it's just that kid in the background holding the skateboard. That's not really. 13 Reasons Why was my biggest.
But
off there.
You did some commercials. Didn't you do a commercial a while back with like Nick and Ryan and Caesar?
Oh, the Astro game.
Yeah, that's the one I'm thinking.
That was pretty dope. I mean, that was I was funny because I was just a PA on that, and went from driving around to like I'm in the video, I'm getting them all their background, getting them all the people that they wanted. They wanted that street live, that street fashion kind of lifestyle, and they wanted some skateboarders. It's a headphone advertisement, so.
So yeah, here we go. This is like a perfect segue to what I wanted to talk about next, because like here we are. This is a headphones commercial. Mm-hmm. This isn't even anything to do with skateboarding or you said fashion, but to me, headphones are a fashion accessory, but it's more about like sound, electronics, different thing.
Depends on the company too, where you get like Skull Candy,
right?
Who leans on alternative sports heavily.
Yeah,
but with skating, like we're seeing a surge in skating within the mass media. Like we said, we've been seeing an ad on the side of fucking trains and buses here in San Francisco the past year or so of some dude blowing it on a fucking dolphin flip.
Yeah, you gotta remember, it's the skateboards are toys, and quote unquote toys. Excuse me. It's like,
careful, bro.
It's a way of life for most, but at the same time, to the outsider, it's a yo-yo. It's back in the day, skateboarding has gone in and out of fad. Luckily it's been holding on over the last couple of decades, but it can go anytime.
Well, that's
it's crazy.
It's like something that they almost just like use, if that makes sense.
No,
like,
it makes perfect sense.
It's just like let's use this skateboard with someone who is an actor or a model, and we're gonna use this to try and portray or relate to something.
It's selling toys to children. That's how the marketing game is on any level for skateboarding.
Sure.
Even these guys at Girl and Chocolate, that's how they have to go to business and go to the offices. I haven't been there, but it's the same mentality. You're selling. You got to advertise and relate to the younger crowd. Mm-hmm. Period. And luckily over the years it has turned into a mode of transportation.
Oh my god!
Yeah, and then
holy shit!
Now you're getting like electronic skateboards, and that's a whole nother thing that we can go on about.
Sure.
But that's the evolution of skateboarding.
Mm-hmm.
It's turned into this commodity, and
that's a good way of putting it. Right now specifically of just like fashion and music, and like you see rappers like trying to roll around on a skateboard because it's so fucking trendy right now, and just the way it's being used all across the board is really interesting for people like us right now, and just like having an eye on it, and just
we went from the inside and we're on the outside kind of looking in, and it's still a lifestyle though. Like you still have to take it for what it is, and it's like surfing. It just depends on how long you do it. Like Lil Wayne. You're talking about rappers doing skateboarding. I used to knock it, but he has a passion for it. Like there's a real heart there, and it is a commodity, and he is trying to capitalize on it.
Yeah. I agree with that. Actually, I felt the same way. We don't have to go too far into the fucking Lil Wayne thing or anyone else for that matter. But I do agree that it was very corny, and like it was like he was trying to immediately, which is another good point, he's immediately attach himself with something that's already has like its own following or core audience, but he still fucking skates and he's improved, and who are we to say that anyone
Everyone
can't do
can
that.
skate. Yeah. Anyone who wants to skate should go skate.
Well, this is great because you kind of answered my question without me even asking it.
There you go.
I was going to ask, why are we seeing
Episode
this
over.
surge in skateboarding in the mass media? And like you just said it, like it is a commodity at this point, and it is like your comparison of like selling toys to kids is such a good thing because
Look at Thrasher, man. Thrasher's a hometown special.
But no, yeah, how much money Thrasher makes just because.
I don't even know if they're making that money off the. I don't think they. I gotta ask my boy Tony Vitello, but I don't know if the Japanese they're remaking his stuff. Like they're selling it like a hot commodity. I think. Like what you're wearing right there, is that even legit?
What?
Thrasher,
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Thrasher Huff collab, but that wasn't made in like Japan and sold online for like $5?
No. No, definitely not.
All right, but you know what I'm saying. Like,
I do. Yeah, no, they're getting ripped off big time.
People are ripping off this stuff.
Yeah,
and like
sure.
90% of the people who wear Thrasher don't even skate.
Yeah, totally.
You know?
Yeah.
I'm not knocking Thrasher. Thrasher's my hometown hero. Like they've been holding strong as long as I've been alive.
Well, Phelps had a great quote on a podcast a while ago where, they asked him like, how do you feel about Justin Bieber and Rihanna and people like that wearing your gear?
Free advertising.
And well, that's basically what he said. He said, we're older than MTV and we're older than Slayer. Of course we're going to be popular.
Oh.
And he's not wrong. I mean, yeah, Thrasher goes so far beyond skating at this point.
Jake Phelps, I love you as much as I hate you, and I think that's your whole.
That's your legacy.
Yeah, that's your legacy.
Whenever you need a straight to the point, candid opinion, he's gonna put it in the best way possible.
When it comes to all this skating in the mass media, though, like the one thing you got to ask yourself though is, like, what do they get right, and what do they get wrong? And before we dive into that, the thing I want to bring up, which is so funny because Pauly actually texted me about this morning. Like, I want to talk about a thing that is like really pissing people off on the internet right now in the skate world, and that's this movie Mid-90s that's coming out.
It's pissing people off?
It's pissing a lot of people off.
It's pissing Ted off.
Sort of.
You know Jonah Hill?
I do know Jonah Hill is behind it.
Well, do you know who his favorite skater is, right?
Chico, and Chico's in the movie.
He's playing a cop.
Yeah.
It's so awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Chico, Aaron Meza, and Rick Howard are cops.
That's so perfect.
But the thing is, people keep comparing it to kids.
Well, something's got to get finally compared to kids, because kids is
it's kind of been on its own.
Yeah, it is.
Well, and
sitting out there, mid-90s.
Well, that's why I want to bring this
horror.
up before we dive into like right versus wrong on what they're getting right and what they're getting wrong in all these things. I think this is the perfect comparison because like kids got so much right without actually being about skateboarding. Like skating was the backdrop to this story.
Yeah, it wasn't even the forefront. Yeah.
Right. And again, it mid-90s is kind of taking a lot of that format in the sense that they're not necessarily enlisting professional actors to play these parts. They're enlisting skaters. Like, you have all the illegal civ kids being in this movie. And then at the same time, Kids was like the entire Zoo York crew in the mid-90s.
Rosario Dawson.
Yeah, her first movie. That was Rosario Dawson's first movie. And Chloe.
Yeah.
Like, both of them got their start there.
Now look at them.
I mean, that whole lineup of even before how they were able to pick those kids out before they were even necessarily who they were. LeVar, you know.
Yeah, LeVar was in that.
The whole couch scene where they're all fucking tiny little teenagers where they're smoking a blunt.
Yeah, all the homies on
Yeah.
But
Javier Nunes.
Yeah.
It's just interesting to look at that because, like I said, like, skating was the backdrop in Kids, while in mid-90s, it is very much the forefront of the story. Like, they're purposely making skating like, oh, this is what happens when this young kid discovers skating and he sees this world for the first time and he really finds himself. And they're actually doing another movie like that right now about women. I forget what it's called.
Women in skateboarding?
It's the same idea. It's like a girl who moves to New York City and she's never skated before, but she finds skateboarding and she discovers it and then kind of finds herself through that. Right. So that's the other thing like I wanted to bring up with the surge of skateboarding in the media. We're all of a sudden starting to see all these movies coming out that they no longer necessarily portray skating as a rebellious thing in a bad light. It's like, oh, this is a thing where you can really find yourself and your personality.
Yeah. It's your typical coming-of-age story. It just has a little more, edge to it, if you want to call it that.
I mean, I guess that is exactly what you would call it. Yeah. The whole thing, though, with something like kids, though, is that they got so much right without even trying because that was just their lives. I read a great interview with Jeff Pang where they asked him, how much in that movie was actually like your life? And he goes, the cameras could have not been rolling, and that's how we were. He's like, everything except for the hunting of virgins was pretty accurate to our everyday lives. Oh, God. And then I think he ends the quote by saying, what a fucked up reality show we would have had.
Yeah. I'd pay to see that.
Oh, I would love to have watched all that. But
it wouldn't have been what it was, and it wouldn't be such a cult classic if it didn't have that edge. That gritty edge. Those kids didn't necessarily know how to act. They weren't really acting, for that matter. They were kind of just, like Jeff Pang said, right. They were living their daily lives, and the cameras happened to be there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So
R.I.P. Harold Hunter, Justin Pierce.
Yeah.
By the way.
So, and that's what I want to get into now. So, like, what are they getting right, whether they're trying or not, and what are they getting wrong? And I think, like, the big thing that you just said was how they weren't even really trying, the cameras were just rolling. That is such a huge deal, and it comes down to like authenticity, and I think that's why so many skaters harbor this resentment to skating's portrayal in the mass media. It's not necessarily very honest all the time because they don't have someone like you on every set, like, to be there and say, oh, this is how you hold the board. Yeah, you don't wear jogging shoes when you're skating.
Well, back to the reason why I'm here is that I want people to get out there and get into the commercials. Instead of, I mean, you can go ahead and knock it all you want because they are doing it wrong, but that's because you're not there to fix it and not in the commercial. I mean, when they quote unquote hire a skateboarder, it's someone who can ride a skateboard, not actually skateboard, and it says it in their profile. Like, if you live in San Francisco Bay Area, sign up at sfcasting.com, make a profile, say that you skateboard, and get on some shoots. I'm dead serious. Like, all these kids out here, like,
I'm on it.
Really, though, anybody. Like, everybody. I'm telling you. Just make yourself a little profile. It might cost a little something, but you get in a commercial, oh my God. Like, the less work I gotta do.
That's a good point. Like, instead of necessarily, which could help also, of having like a consultant type, but just fucking like hiring the right person.
Just being available. Just being available to help them, like, make us look good.
Right. You didn't have to coach John and Caesar how to be a fucking skateboarder.
I was just trying to get them in the biz, man. Right. Trying to get them shown, then they can do their skateboard thing. Like, it's just all about getting the opportunity and make yourself available, where that's the whole, we getting mad at this whole thing and trying to stay away from it. That doesn't help us. And that's why there's cats like Jonah Hill and and myself, not comparing myself to him, but the fact that we're making an attempt, because Jonah Hill's a big fan of skateboarding.
Which has come out like a lot recently.
Yeah. That's another thing I wanted to bring up.
Maybe he's trying to ride the wave. I'm not sure. I don't know the guy personally.
I think before stealing...
See how people getting personal about it?
I'm not trying to harp on Ted, but I think that, correct me if I'm wrong, is kind of a bit of your... like beef with it a little bit, is Jonah Hill. It's been coming out and all of a sudden he's like, I'm full fucking skater guy.
Yeah. Well, no, I actually fuck with Jonah Hill being this, like, coming out and saying, like, this was a big part of my life, because for me with skateboarding, like,
we need to see them clips.
Yeah.
We need to see them clips, Jonah.
Yeah, or you're gonna get whacked.
Oh, it's on the way. I can't. Oh man, I can't.
I don't
wait.
know. He's got that Leo DiCaprio money, man. I don't know.
He does.
Yeah.
Fucking with Brad Pitt.
But
people give him the pass.
I like the fact that Jonah Hill is like being out there and being like, yeah, I grew up skating. Like whether he was good or not is completely irrelevant.
Sure.
He still has like
it's still in your heart, man.
Yeah, but he still has valid opinions. It's not like he's like, oh, I only like this one skateboard related thing that everybody knows about.
Yeah.
He actually, if you listen to his top 5 video parts that he did for Krail Tap, he actually picked shit that was kind of like, oh, wow.
He knew his shit.
Yeah, he wasn't just some fucking noob. I remember he dropped the Musca Uno part as one of his favorite parts. And
deep cut right
yeah,
there.
for real. Had he said Musca fulfilled a dream, I'd probably be like, yeah, that sounds about right. But Musca Uno is like super fucking, it's the B-side, man. It's the fucking B-side. But I actually fuck with the fact that he's out there doing his thing because for me personally, I didn't realize I wanted to do anything with skating till long after college and film school and everything like that. It was just one of those things where something kind of clicked one day that skating was this huge part of my life that I'd kind of just shoved aside for so long. And while I do, I still at this point in my life have these big dreams of working for a big company like that one day, which may or may not happen. I've kind of, as an adult, come to accept that there's a good chance it won't. But you do that shit for the love, and then you find opportunities like you have, Pauly, and you insert your knowledge and talents in a different way, which is that's something that's so awesome about what you've done with being on sets like 13 Reasons Why and some of these commercial shoots.
My purpose in life right now. Yeah. More or less. Just trying to get these kids motivated and, like that kid Nico, man. He's in music videos and TV shows and like he's doing it right. He's skateboarding for a living.
Yeah, there's so many different ways you can capitalize on being a skater or trying to make money as a skateboarder nowadays. Yeah. It's not just...
You can't flip product, you can't work the graveyard shift and become a professional skateboarder.
Yeah.
You can try, but you gotta have a big bag of tricks.
Yep.
But otherwise you need to get out there and hustle. Use your talent. Make it sell it, make a $5 kickflip,
Yeah. I mean, even those dudes at fucking Fancy Lad found a way to get their shit on Cartoon Network. Like, totally different avenue for how they were advertising to people, but they found a way to make a 7-minute short little thing for Adult Swim, and they got the offer and they took it. There aren't many skaters ever who decided to go that route, other than maybe fucking those Odd Future kids who had, what was that show?
I like Jews. I like Jews.
What's that? Is that one of the Loiter Squad things? Is that a Loiter Squad thing?
Golf.
Yep.
Yeah, I never actually watched.
Yeah, that show didn't last very long.
But there was dude, they did shit on that show. They played.
No, it was good. They
played games of Skate on that show and did stuff like that, and they
put on the homie Nico, man. Nico said he was a Grom. He's on.
Yeah, he's going.
He took advantage of it, and that's what I want everyone else don't envy that. Get a part of it. Jump in.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So, one of the things I wanted to come back to in general is how can we improve all of this? And your biggest thing that you said was getting involved. Just getting involved is enough to improve how the mass media portrays skateboarding as a whole.
Yeah, to get involved, you just gotta get involved. Get your foot on set and see how it's really done and see if you like it or not,
If there's a bigger pool, it makes sense. If there's a bigger pool of just authentic skaters to pull from, then the dolphin flip no-make dudes are going to start to be phased out, hopefully. That's the idea, I think, that you're getting at.
Totally. And, it's not just the Hollywood skateboarders that are getting shine, that are... I don't know. What was that? Street Dreams? That was made by skateboarders for skateboarders, and
horrible.
The idea was there. It was all there, but it was super dry. I don't know. There's again, not Hollywood skateboard. I'm talking about my San Francisco skateboarders out here. I know we're all hard and tough skinned and California living out here, not so sunny California. But you know, get your raunchy ass out there. Get in the commercials. Show some face. Represent.
That is what. Yeah, that's totally what we need. It makes perfect sense to let's just weed and push out all the
phoniness.
Yeah. We can do. I guess we could do it ourselves. We just need to apply ourselves.
Yeah.
Well, I think now too though, because skateboarding is at arguably one of its most popular
Ride
peaks
that wave.
in
Rent's,
all of
rent's
culture.
expensive out here.
Oh God.
But I think now that opens up opportunities because you do like. There's been times where I've been at a skate spot or at the park or whatever, and I'll meet skaters who they all work like regular ass 9 to 5 jobs. They're like, oh, I work in an office. This dude works at fucking Twitter. This dude manages a store. Like they all have regular jobs, but skateboarding is still something they hold on to because we have skaters being in all these different facets of life. Like, you're right, they should go out there and take advantage and find ways to make skateboarding more applicable to the average human being, but also shine a light on it that is honest as opposed to fucking, like, something that we would all clown on when we see it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's regardless. We're going to clown. I mean, that's skateboarding.
Yeah.
Hate's love, love is hate, you know? Fine line.
Do you think that there is, because kind of going back to like more of just the advertising stuff, do you think that there's more of whoever's leading that ship, they have more of a priority of their product and the corporation behind them?
It's totally the product and their bosses and keeping everyone happy at a lower budget and saving money.
Okay, right, and it leads to.
But if they want to be cool, like hang out with Jonah Hill, you know, they're gonna. That's why what Jonah Hill is actually kind of cool. Going back to that, is that it's it's taking it to the next level, and like people are gonna start respecting that a little bit more. Mm-hmm. So the next time I do work with someone at some downtown corporate commercial or something, he'll probably seen the movie and like actually want to mess with a real skateboarder.
Yeah.
Actually go out of his way to look for a real skateboarder instead of just Googling skateboard actor and getting some clown that owns a skateboard. Mm-hmm. That hasn't ridden it in a few years.
Are we gonna see? I guess mid-90s is probably gonna be the closest to it of
right now, anyways.
Skaters like actually having like a good amount of screen time and like actually trying to act, because I saw they have like Nakel is in it, that kid Olin, I think.
Yep.
And they're like,
who's the cast in that?
They're really, it's all the IC kids for the most part.
Yeah, it's all that.
And they're it's a little different than Kids seemingly, because Kids was kind of like, it was gritty and they were just kind of following them around with a camera. And this mid-90s thing, clearly with Jonah Hill, and just he's at a way later point in his career than Harmony was when Kids was made. He's it has a cleaner look, and that's just off of whatever I've seen. That could be completely wrong, but he has skaters actually seemingly like trying to act. I don't say trying to undermine their acting greatness, but they're skaters before actors.
Absolutely. The question I have though is, if we start seeing so much of this skating portrayed in the mass media, and we were talking about earlier, your allure to Bart Simpson was that he was kind of like skating made him a little bratty asshole. Does this all of a sudden make skating's image too safe for what its roots were? Is that a good or a bad thing?
Define roots.
Well, I mean, skating's roots, you read interviews with all these old skaters from like the 80s, early 90s. Their whole thing was they were not accepted by most people around them. They were coming from a rough around the edges type of background, most likely. They had some sort of chip on their shoulder in some way, shape, or form, and skateboarding was their escape, and it was also a little dangerous, so in order to hang, you really had to be able to put up with some shit.
Yeah.
Now with it being in all these movies and commercials and stuff, does that shift the image so much in a good or a bad way?
Yeah. That's interesting.
I think it's caught in between. I think that there's almost like, it's almost like rap music or rock or something. There's subgenres of quote unquote types of skaters now. Yeah. So I think skateboarding has expanded so much. I mean, you're the expert on it as far as like the media and the film stuff, but it's expanded so much that I think that's like lost, Ted. That's like, it will and can go any way.
Yeah, but then you can go ahead and watch, was it Lords of Dogtown? I mean, that's Stacy's project. I mean, he's taking that full Hollywood and, you know, went from a documentary to that, and he's holding the ground on where skateboarding came from, kind of thing.
And I think that's important to remember. You know, skateboarding's roots are in the fucking gutter.
A good example, we talked about it in season 1 of kind of what I was just saying, of like skaters being able to almost, maybe not morph, but it's kind of a mind fuck with the whole GX crew in GQ, because they're one of the most hardcore gritty crews, but they're in GQ pushing their brand and in like ridiculous designer outfits. It's like,
wait, what are you talking about? GQ?
They did a whole GQ piece.
What? GX, the whole GX crew had a whole spread in
Almond Hills.
Oh yeah,
yeah, but
the whole crew,
and it, like in every picture of them too. Again, probably all shot by a photographer who did not know what the fuck skateboarding culture was all about.
Yeah, but that's something GQ does.
You sure
Sidebar,
about
they
who
always
was the photographer.
It wasn't a name that I recognized when I looked at it, but every picture had.
Wow, wait, they actually went out of their way. Wait, do you know if GQ hit up them or they hit up GQ, or
I'm guessing
vice versa?
GQ hit up them.
I mean, for them to even say yes to that's impressive, and I'm stoked for that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, so that's
Fuck it.
Right. That's such a good example. Right.
Skateboarding, we're trendsetters. Skateboarding's been trendsetting since day one. You know, wallet chains and flooded pants and the whole nine. I mean, they're still carrying. The fanny pack is coming back because of these guys. You know, the camera pouch around the neck kind of thing.
Well, what I thought was interesting in that GQ
rolled
piece,
up
though,
beanies and
every picture had a caption that said who designed the clothes, what they were,
the
brand, and how much they cost.
Yeah, there you go. So, like I said, walking billboards.
Yep, that answers. I think that almost answers your question, to go back a little bit, Ted. Of like, where's the portrayal gonna go? Is it gonna hurt it? Is it gonna help it? That whole GQ GX thing is just such a perfect fucking example.
Just the fact that they did it was
like
amazing.
A mind fuck of skateboarding can do whatever it wants, basically.
Pretty much.
It will always adapt to the times. Look how well it's adapted to social media in the past few years and everything.
And that's if skateboarding wants to adapt. That's where there's that big dry spell in the mid 2000s, because older guys were just getting in. There was just a handful of millionaire skateboarders. Where now it's a hot commodity and everyone's trying to get back on the bandwagon, and it's a smart move, if people capitalize on it.
Cashing the fuck out.
Yeah, and the fact, too, that there is an endless supply of young talent. Because for a while, skating got kind of stale because you were watching all your favorite pros that you had grown up with getting old. And now this new crop, they come in and out every fucking day.
Yeah, and they're also raised in skate parks, where my generation was kind of skipped on. Our generation, all of us, because, we thought the whole street art thing was the way it was and how it should be, and skate parks are bullshit, But we're just hating. But that's how we thought it was, and then next
we were in a bubble.
We were, and then they knob everything, and then all you could do is skate at the skate park, and then we're late to that boat. All these kids are crushing it,
dude. I know, and they're all, and no one even talks about that or says anything about that. Like,
that's what I meant by that.
This kid hangs out in a skate park all the time, and we're just all on Instagram like, holy shit, they're ripping.
Yep.
Yeah, this fool's dark sliding the triple kinked rail at his fucking local skate park.
Yeah. But on some hater shit, Chaz Ortiz couldn't 50-50 a concrete ledge till he went on Zoo York.
That's a whole other episode.
X Games, man, that coping.
Oh god, yeah, right. Never grinded a fucking cement ledge in his
He was a millionaire
goddamn
before
life.
he concrete.
Before he could 50-50 a concrete ledge. That is a trip. And I'm sure that's like true too.
I mean, your boy Bam Margera, I know you're a big fan. Oh, I heard him and Andy Roy just did
They did an MTV thing together.
What was that? The Joe Rogan used to be the host of it.
Fear Factor.
Fear Factor.
They did Celebrity
I heard
Fear
they were
Factor.
eating bugs and shit and like eyeballs and handing them off to each other in their mouths and shit. I just heard.
Bam and Andy Roy.
Andy Roy, dude. If you want to look up to anybody right now, it's Andy Roy.
I was actually just about to bring that up.
Oh,
yeah.
you want? I mean, you know, I grew up here, so like I just know the guy, just from around the block, and Andy has come into his own. You know, really, he's capitalized.
Found his way.
He's found his way, and he's doing the whole Vice thing, and he's riding the wave, man. He's having fun with it, and he's realizing that, you know, that this is what he's got, and he's living the lifestyle, and he's going to get paid to do it.
King of the Road is great because, and again, that kind of answers what you were saying, Ted, of how's the portrayal going to change? Is it going to be for good or bad? Now, actual skaters and actual skating is on TV. So people like Thrasher and King of the Road and, you know, Epically Later.
Yeah.
We kind of come back to so many of our previous episodes with these topics, but we have people that don't skate constantly, like friends of mine that have no idea anything
but they've seen
previously,
King of the Road.
but they're super interested,
super into it.
and they know like Evan Smith's name and like the tricks they were doing and this and that, and that's totally shaping.
And like you said about adapting to the newer culture, it's still the same thing though, where like it's just a new age jackass kind of thing, but instead of calling themselves stuntmen and being, you know, jackasses, quote unquote, they're doing these contests. They're going out of the way to do stupid shit, but it's all in fun with the game. And you know, I actually, you know, King of the Road is as crazy as it is. It's fun.
It is fun.
I don't want to say it's the best representation of skateboarding, but it is a representation.
But I enjoy watching it.
It's fun.
Agreed.
Like, it is enjoyable every week to see,
That's
like,
why we need to get other people
Louis
out
Barletta
there.
on cable.
Oh, God.
You know,
Yeah,
it's fucking awesome.
You know, we're no better than anyone else, Ted. Look at our podcast.
Yeah.
we popped up right in the middle of the wave, and we're trying to fucking hold on to.
Find a niche.
Yeah.
And tread water. I mean, I guess what it comes down to is people, like you said earlier, you know, everyone's just got to kind of get involved and do their part. If they want skateboarding to be portrayed the way skaters actually love and see it, then you have to step up and do your part. You can't just sit there on the sidelines.
You know, especially if you want it to be a big part of your life. You know, if you just want it to be a hobby, that's cool. Go skate. You know, but if you really have that pit in your heart where it's hurting, and you gotta get it. You gotta show yours. You gotta get involved.
Yeah,
and,
absolutly. You can't.
Thrasher's out there, but who else is out there?
Mm-hmm.
I know
can
there's,
only hate
like you said,
so much.
sub genres though.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm only really seeing one genre out there. There are many other representations of skateboard that should be out there. Just saying.
Yeah.
Rob Dyrdek already got his, and now he's on a fucking spoof shows and
now he's almost left. He's like left skateboarding behind.
Yeah, he's just making fun of it now.
He's right. I have no fucking clue what he's doing, but he's
still got ridiculousness going on. And I watched an episode of that show the other day where he brought fucking David Spade on as his special guest.
There you go.
Like, that was crazy to me because, you know, it's one thing when he brings on
R.I.P. Big Black.
Yeah, but it's one thing when he brings like a rapper onto his show that he like loves or probably skated to one of his songs at some point. But David Spade is like, that's the Jonah Hill level once again. Like, you know, David Spade made fucking Tommy Boy and Joe Dirt and some of the best comedy movies ever.
Family.
Oh God, they played a scene from Grown Ups on that show, and I died a little bit inside because I was
Cross promotion.
Yeah,
again, it's just cross promotion. I mean, MTV owed them a little hot spot.
When you get on that level, everyone's scratching each other's backs.
I bet you David Spade had to be on his show.
Yeah, it was a contractual obligation.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it comes down to though, just like get involved and do your part, and you can't hate all the time. Like, I get why people do.
You can.
Well, I get why people do choose to just like hate on shit and talk shit about oh, like I can't believe this is on MTV, and you know, there's Instagram accounts like Why I Don't Skateboard, and then you have someone like fucking Wrecking Ball calling everyone out when something happens that goes against the culture as a whole. But at least
he's great because he's just able to make fun of it, not take it so serious.
But at the same time, he's doing his part by like, yeah, he's the hater, but he's out there putting himself in the forefront and making his opinions known, which is important.
Going back to my locals, getting some. Chico did a Phil's commercial that I saw was pretty dope. Kyle Camarillo did that, and dude, that was all around good job. And then the kids, Desmond or the young bucks, not so young anymore.
The sidewalk juice,
dude. The sidewalk juice, that little spot, that was cool. I'm not sure the reasoning behind that, if they made it for them or if Sidewalk Juice asked them to do it, but the fact that they're getting involved and trying, just building your own reel, like that's the kind of stuff, you know, just getting a little bit out there, showing some lifestyle, you know, that's a good way to do it, represent, you know.
And that's how it's going to change how skateboarding is consistently portrayed in the mass media. Once you have all these people who are in the know and do kind of have a say involved, you're going to see that shift. And it's going to be more honest rather than dolphin flips on the side of the fucking subway.
That's what we're all hoping.
Even though there's all these subgenres and whatnot, skateboarding has you know, evolved, and we're all kind of in it together, and skaters are usually a pretty good judge of authenticity, and we're all basically band together against electric skateboarding. Get out of here.
Oh my god. Yep.